The Book of Psalms, verse 26. The poor will eat and be satisfied. Those who seek the Lord will praise him. May your hearts live forever. Okay, so, hi everybody, this is Christian RPG Gamers. Okay, so the background footage from this is from Star Wars Fallen Order. So for today, I just wanted to talk a little bit about the new upcoming video games called Star Wars Outlaws. So I think it released yesterday at around midnight, or for the normal players. So it should be out now. I think I'm gonna make this video, and I'm just gonna give some of my thoughts about it. This is not like an in-depth review or anything. I'll talk about some of what actually exists within the game, and I'll also try to talk about some of my hopes for it, or maybe for the franchise going forward, or I'll also try to find some kind of like a Christian perspective or spin to try to put on it. I mean, I don't like to force a narrative, but no, this is a Christian channel, so I should try to find at least something of the faith to put in it. But okay, so some of what I've seen or I've learned about it so far. Also, I don't know how this is gonna sound. I don't know if the background footage is gonna sound really loud or really quiet. I have a hard time getting that straight, but it might be extremely loud at the same time. But I've been adjusting the numbers or the knobs or whatever. But okay, so Star Wars Outlaws. Okay, I just want to look up. I want to remember if I can say her name correctly. So her name is Kay. Her name's called Kay Vess. So I think apparently this game might come out in 2 days from now. It's fine either way. It'll be out eventually soon enough. But so the basic premise of the game is you're part of, like, it's called the Outlaws, right? So you're kind of like a morally gray kind of anti-hero. You're someone like a little bit like Han Solo, and you go out. You go out and you do these little missions, and I'm not gonna go through like the main plot of the story too much. I mean, I'm gonna try to keep this mostly spoiler free, but just some of the basics, right? Just some of the foundational blocks. So you go through these missions, and like basically you're like a criminal. You're like a criminal scum. All you really care about is money. You just want to make. You do a lot of stealth missions, and you try to you do these little odd ends and jobs, and and obviously the game has its own way of kind of introducing you to the world and having it so that you can play the game. Then you go out on this mission. The mission goes wrong. It's kind of like one of the more like cliche normal things you would expect, right? You go out on a mission. The mission goes wrong. You get caught. Bad crap happens. You end up escaping and getting out of it. Then you kind of start your life as like some kind of an adventure. And there's obviously, this is set in the Star Wars world, so like, there's the rebels and like the Empire, and they're clashing, and you're kind of in the middle of this mess. I mean, I haven't been through the whole story yet or anything, but I know at least some of it. And yeah, okay, so yeah, those are just some of the aspects of the story, and so far, I actually do think it looks actually pretty good, and it also looks like it's very fun to play. It has a decent story. It has stealth mechanics. It has some open world aspects to it, and like there are some like collectibles and like resources you can find. It's not like I'm not sure I would call it like an RPG game. I think it's more like it's honestly a lot more like this game here, where you call like Star Wars, it's like Fallen Order and stuff like that. Where again, I think like you can get again, they have a preset main character, and you have a preset main character. Then you have like, again, like you can collect. I think you can collect a few different Now I haven't only watched some of the video from. I haven't gotten that far into it yet. But like you get like a basic set of equipment and like weapons and armor or some different clothes you can adjust. I think you can like change up some of your like your outfits and stuff. Or you might think of a game like some of the PlayStation games, like you got like Horizon Zero Dawn, or you got like Ghost of Tsushima, and maybe even like a little bit of some Assassin's Creed. Or yeah, like you got a preset main character. You play the world again. You get some different equipment, and there's a linear story, or maybe there's a couple moments here and there where you have the ability to make a couple different choices. But like for the most part, it's a very linear world. But again, like it does look a lot of fun. I think that's one aspect that I'm gonna highlight about this game. And like the graphics look pretty decent. And like there was some controversy about how she looked or something. I think she looks fine. I mean, she's not like she's not the most gorgeous looking female. I mean, I would ever argue there exists, but she's not ugly at the same time either. She kind of looks maybe like she's like an average looking female. I don't think she's awful or something. I mean, I know there's a lot of people who are always hateful about everything, but I think she looks fine. It's just like a normal character in the world. Oh yeah, there's a little bit of some rain coming down. So you might hear some rain. Hopefully it's not too bad. In Holiness, God controls the weather, right? Now maybe this is like an omen from him. I should talk more about the Christian faith too. But no, it's been really hot, but this rain's made it a little bit cooler, so that's kind of nice. So some other aspects to it. So there's an open world aspect to it. You get a little bike you can drive around on. You call like a little science fiction bike, or I don't know, or like a hover bike or something. And there is and also it kind of reminds me a little bit of like Final Fantasy 15. Though I haven't played that many of the other Final Fantasies too recently, but again, like it has this little open world to it, and you get to go around and you get to explore it. And it's kind of like janky, but it's like janky fun. And I like a lot of jank. I play a lot of jank. I play video games like Elix. I play all sorts of janky stuff, right? So it's like I'm no stranger to jank, but again, you can just kind of go around the world, and then probably there's some little side quests you can do, and there is the main story. You can collect some stuff. And I mean, overall, I think about this game. I mean, it's like it's a very. I think it's a very solid game. I wouldn't say it's like break the mold to become some like brand new, off the rails, great, amazing video game. But I think it's a solid video game. That I mean, it's a lot of fun. There's a decent story. I wouldn't say it's not like an amazing story, but it's at least it's at least passable. And it's a solid, passable story. I mean, a lot of the characters are fairly likable. Although, I mean, like, again, it does reminds me a little bit of Assassin's Creed Mirage a bit at times. Obviously, again, like you're playing in the moral grayness. So I guess, like, I probably would say, I mean, I should try to put some kind of a Christian spin on this now too. Again, like a morally gray world. I mean, you're a thief, obviously, you steal stuff. You're involved with dishonesty, you lie, cheat. You're kind of a crooked, corrupt person. Whoops. Oh, what I just did there. Oh, okay. So you're playing in the lines of moral grayness constantly. Now, I mean, I accept that in video games and stuff. I mean, like, this stuff exists. Also, I can't control what other people do. I also think that's a pretty good aspect to think about. We as people, we can't, as Christians and as people, we can't control the universe and everything and everyone in it. That's God's job. God controls the universe and everyone and everything, and not us. So again, like you aren't an outlaw. You're basically a crook. You just rob stuff, and all you do is you live to serve your own interests, which again, like it's selfish, you have like, it's very covetous. You're kind of borderline evil. I mean, I wouldn't say you're like a malicious person, but like, all you really care about is money at the end of the day, and your own personal interests. And again, like, very covetous, very you're just living like a scumbag. And we know that as Christians, that is not morally right. And like, in God's some of God's holy 10 commandments is, thou shalt not, bear false witness against their neighbor. Thou shalt not steal. Now, I don't think this character doesn't seem like she's like super evil. She's not like a full scale like murderer or something. I mean, people die in these type of scenarios, but they're not like, she's kind of like I feel like she's more like a Catwoman kind of a character or something, or even like a Tomb Raider. Now, I haven't been through the story fully. Now, I'm sure they're gonna spin her as being like a good person, and she's gonna join like the Rebel Alliance or something, and she's bad, but she's gonna end up becoming good or something. I don't know, man. It's like it's kind of insufferable. Like, I mean, obviously, heroes should be heroes, but I mean, I'm glad she's probably gonna become a hero in the story, but it's like sometimes I like when heroes should be heroes and like villains should be villains. And like scumbags should be scumbags. I get it. There's probably gonna be a redemption story too, which is good, but it feels kind of lame at the same time because it takes away the spotlight from other people being able to do their true roles. But yeah, so one thing she does is she steals a lot, and she's stealing from bad people. But the truth is that stealing is still stealing at the end of the day. Like, I know it's a video game and everything, but you don't want to just sit there and just, become so desensitized to the fact that, people who are doing bad things are doing bad things. You should just call it for what it is. Bad is bad. So I guess that's one aspect of the Christian faith. There's a lot of criminal actions being taking place, but at the same time, you are basically stealing and you're doing bad crap to people who basically are bad. So you're kind of like a chaotic good character, or chaotic neutral, chaotic good. But the lines of morality become blurred a lot. Like, for example, you have Star Wars Fallen Order, which is this footage here. Presuming this even works. And like Kel, I think his name is called. I probably just cannot pronounce it right. Like, what is that? I'm like Arthur Morgan, and I speak one language, and I can barely speak that language as it is. I think his name's called Kel Coruscant. I just can't say his name. Kel Coruscant. I can't pronounce it, but you get the idea. Well, he is regarded as a hero. He's not really an anti-hero. He's a hero. Yeah, the very beginning of his story, but he's a good person. I think Kel is a good human being. He cares about people, and he has to do certain things, like he has to fight. And yes, like, his enemies do die. But for the most part, he's a good person. He has a good heart. He's in a kind of a terrible situation. He's trying to make the best out of a bad situation. He's a hero. And like, you look at the character from Star Wars Outlaws. She really is not a good person. But then again, like, she also was raised in a terrible situation too. But yeah, she's basically just a scumbag. Now, maybe later on she won't be, but so yeah, like the lines of morality, they get blurred so heavily. You can't even keep track sometimes. Like what is the definition of good and what is the definition of evil? You get so mixed up. It's hard to keep track some days. So yeah, that's probably one of the big the moral dilemmas of these types of games. So what are some other thoughts I have about it? I do think it's a good video game, and it does look it's like highly interesting, and there's a lot of stuff you can do in the game. And it's probably a pretty long game, and you have access to play for a long time. I think I did a video on what's called Black Myth Wukong, I have a kind of the similar thoughts. Again, if you have money in your bank account and you're not that overly worried, I think it's a solid investment to play or to buy. I mean, I don't know if you're a content creator or not, but it's definitely a solid video game. Maybe like streaming and walkthrough or whatever, I'm sure it's fine. I mean, the graphics look pretty decent. It has a decent story. It's pretty fun to play. There's a lot of stuff to do, and there's a lot of exploration. To be honest, it's probably worth your money. I would make the argument that it's kind of okay. So it's worth your money. I would say you're gonna get like you're gonna get a bang for your buck. I'm not like overwhelmingly super happy with the game like to an extreme levels, but I would say that it's probably a solid investment. I also would make the argument that this kind of a video game, in my opinion, is definitely a great investment if you buy it on a discount. Like you wait like 2 weeks from now, this game will be on sale for like 40-50% off. Again, I do think this is a great video game to buy. If you already have if you already have a big backlog and you have a lot of games you're already playing and working on, I think paying about $20 for this video game is a very, very good investment. Because it's going to be a lot of fun. So yeah, I would also make this argument that, okay, so this is my other argument about the game. I think that if you waited about 3 months for the video game, if you're a little more conservative and a little bit more patient, wait about 3 months for the game will have all the patches will start coming out, or at least the big ones. I'm sure they're gonna release a bunch of cosmetic packs. Maybe they have a DLC or they have a special edition of the game. I think if by that point, you probably pay about $40 at that point. You get the full game. You get you get all the patch notes. You get the DLC, the cosmetics. A whole bunch of guides at that point will come out on the internet on do like a Yahoo or like a Google search or something, or you look up some YouTube or something. Paying around $40 for this game, getting a full, good, solid deal. I think that's a good investment. I think the game is definitely worth it at that price for all the stuff you get from it at that point, presuming you're willing to wait a little while. I personally just don't see this really being as like a $70. I really just don't like the $70 price tag to begin with, but I just don't see this game as being like, in my opinion, it's just not a AAA full-scale like RPG game or something. I just really don't see this being worth $70, but that's subjective, I guess, at the end of the day. Some games are just so good that I feel like they probably are worth it, but some games are just not. Again, this is kind of like a Ubisoft game. But yeah, like again, $40 I think would be a great deal if you're going to wait a little while. If you wait a longer time, this could be a great backlog sell of the game, like $20 maybe. But if you got the money, go ahead and buy it, right? Like, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun. But again, like I do like this kind of game. Like, it's definitely a lot of fun. So, and again, it has some like like we call quote unquote like some little cute aspects to it, and it's also it's a fun game. You got a little creature that kind of follows you around. It's got a little bit of some witty humor at sometimes. It's a fun little game, and I think it's just a good experience. So I guess those are just some of my some of my thoughts on it initially. Obviously, I haven't sat down and played this game. I'm not even sure if it fully comes out yet, but I haven't gone through it in depth or something. But so I'm not gonna make like a full scale review on it or something. But and to tell you the truth, I mean, I've played so many games just like this. I probably played this game already in my own right. So it's like, but yeah, yeah. And then again, there is a lot of stealth aspects to it. So yeah, this is the kind of game I would probably recommend. I mean, how long this? I'm not sure how much longer I'm gonna make this video, but I'll just a little more footage here. I would say I would recommend this video game to somebody, especially if you like stealth style video games. You like stealth, you like open world exploration in kind of a limited environment, and you like a linear story. and you like a simple, you know, kind of easy, comfortable, normal game, I think this game would probably be great for you. But, you know, just have realistic expectations too. But yeah, I think overall it seems like a solid game, and there really isn't that many great games coming out this next like year or so that I can really think of. Obviously, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 I think is probably going to be like the best game coming out. Like, to be honest, I really just can't even think of like any other games coming out that I'm even remotely interested in or that I even know of that are like decent games. I literally just can't even think of the top of my head. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. I'm sure that, okay, so like if you were watching this video, feel free to like, write in the comments. Let me know some new games coming out that might be interesting. I just literally can't even think of any at the top of my head. Like, maybe that's a bad thing or a good thing, but I mean, I don't even know like what I mean. What should I even be interested in, or what should I be looking forward and interested? Video games coming out till the end of the year of 2024, and what new video games are they like quote unquote going to release in 2025 that are going to be pretty good or pretty interesting? You think, or like, especially like a solid game. So, I guess Starfield has a DLC coming out. I think coming out next month. That's probably going to be pretty solid. Yeah, I just can't think of any, to be honest. I guess you could say the same thing with like, like movies or TV shows, or maybe some kind of like an anime, or I mean, I don't really read much books, but wholly other than like, God's Bible, right? The Bible, but yeah, like let me know what you're interested coming out, and let me know what your Christian spin or perspective on Star Wars or the specific game is going to be like. And let me know how interested you are or not, or you are or you aren't in, and or whatever, all this kind of stuff that's been released, right? Yeah, just try to be more friendly in the comments, but yeah, happy gaming, everybody. God is good.